A demoralizing loss in Toronto exposed the Oilers' weaknesses with the new acquisitions, but could it have brought the Oilers tighter as a group? We will talk about that and much more on today's episode of Locked On Oilers.
You're Locked On Oilers, your daily podcast on the Edmonton Oilers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On Oilers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host and former Oilers game day producer, Brett Holden. As mentioned on today's episode, we're going to start off with the tough loss in Toronto. It was a real demoralizing one after that big win in Boston, a tough loss in Toronto. We're going to deconstruct that loss and why it might bring the Edmonton Oilers closer in the long run. Also on today's episode, the Ottawa Senators are in town after they lost to the Flames badly last night. What can you expect from the Edmonton Oilers, including some potential lineup changes for tomorrow night's puck drop? And we will wrap up with the Edmonton Oilers Prospect Report. A couple of news bits to talk about with some prospects, and no more Reed Schaefer updates. Sad. Have fun in Nashville. Either way, all that and much more coming up on today's episode of Locked On Oilers. Thank you for making Locked On Oilers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you find your podcast. Alrighty, let's get into the 7-4 loss for the Edmonton Oilers in Toronto. As it started off pretty well, the Edmonton Oilers were up 3-1 at one point. And then it actually, it didn't slowly unravel. It very quickly unraveled as the Edmonton Oilers allowed 5 unanswered goals to go on to lose 7-4. And, let's start off with the big story around everything, and that is with Ryan McLeod and Vinny Desharnais, as the Edmonton Oilers media, or the media in general, requested Ryan McLeod and Vinny Desharnais for availability after the game, and I have a couple of thoughts on that. We'll get to that, but the reason obviously being the giveaway from McLeod on the power play, which led to Marner's shorthanded goal, which really was the untying of the knot for the Edmonton Oilers from there on out. A couple of tough things going on, a bad giveaway with Vinny Desharnais too, so just a lot of, I don't want to say pressure on, you know what, that is what it is. It's a lot of pressure on those two guys. The Edmonton Oilers leadership group decided that they weren't going to speak, and it was Evander Kane, Zach Hyman, and I believe it was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins who came out and spoke with the Edmonton Oilers media on that night. And a big stir. A lot of people going, oh, leave McLeod and Desharnais alone. Oh, don't you guys drive enough players out enough? Like, my issue here is not with the media asking for Ryan McLeod and Vinny Desharnais, because you know that if you got a quote from Ryan McLeod or Vinny Desharnais going, you know what, it's my fault, I need to be better, and it's my fault the Edmonton Oilers lost tonight, you would be using that quote all over the place going, Ryan, it's not your fault, blah, 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 or you would be eating that up as a consumer of the media. Or on the flip side, if Vinny Desharnais came out and said, I did nothing wrong, what do you guys got? This is all what the media is here to do. To ask the questions that pertain to the game that we all just watched. How are you getting mad at that? But this may have brought the Edmonton Oilers closer, as you saw the leadership step up and face the music and go, this is a bad loss, we need to be better. Then Ladislav Schmid chipped in on Twitter saying, I effing blank, I can't swear, it's a network, I effing love this. This is showing that the Edmonton Oilers are close in the room, or showing that they'll step up in the room. And that's exactly it. No, they're not protecting Ryan McLeod and 6'7" Vinny Desharnais like they need a bodyguard. That's not what's happening. What's happening here is the leadership group coming out and facing the music like the leadership group should. Yes, I just took the side of the media. On inside the room, however, that feels like, yes, maybe the media wants to get a bite at the players who made a mistake. That's fine. That is the back and forth of the media and the locker room and the Edmonton Oilers. But what this did was the Edmonton Oilers leadership group going, guys, listen, I'm not personally saying that, hey, you guys messed up, you guys know what you did, blah, 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 but you owe us one type thing. But what's really happening here is the Edmonton Oilers leadership group going out there and saying, you made a mistake. We all make mistakes. The Edmonton Oilers leadership group is far from immune to knocks and disdain from social media and the media in general. They know how that feels. Ryan McLeod and Vinny Desharnais know that they made mistakes throughout the whole game. That's fine. What this really does is say, we don't go down one by one. It wasn't Ryan McLeod's fault. It wasn't Vinny Desharnais' fault. It wasn't Stuart Skinner's fault. It was the Edmonton Oilers' fault. It was the Edmonton Oilers' fault that when Connor McDavid gets a goal and 2 assists, 3 points in a night, you should probably shut down that game. When your goaltender gets over 30 saves and your team allows over 35 shots, yes, but your goaltender still made over 30 saves. You should be winning that game. You scored 4 goals. You should be winning that game. You're getting secondary scoring from Mattias Ekholm. You should be winning. But you didn't. And that's not just solely on Ryan McLeod and Vinny Desharnais. Did they chip in? Yes, but so did Stuart Skinner, Darnell Nurse, Cody Ceci. Heck, do we want to talk about them? Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci's expected goals against in that game was sitting at a 1.333. Just for a record, or just for reference, the second best pairing, or least best, or second pairing for the Edmonton Oilers in Ekholm and Bouchard sat at a 4.23, almost a full point behind Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci. They also allowed 20 shot attempts against, and 13 of them were unblocked. 13 shots on Stuart Skinner when Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci were on the ice. And I'm not knocking, I'm knocking them because they had a bad game. I'm not going, you need to break the team up, blah, blah, blah. A bad game for them. But a bad game for Darnell Nurse, Cody Ceci, Mattias Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, Vinny Desharnais, Brett Kulak, Connor McDavid. You can go on. It doesn't matter. That's what that is saying. It's not Ryan McLeod and Vinny Desharnais' reason or fault that the Edmonton Oilers lost. It was the Edmonton Oilers' fault that the Edmonton Oilers lost. And down the stretch, this will be a very important reason for the Edmonton Oilers' potential success with being how close this team is. The Edmonton Oilers face off against the Ottawa Senators tomorrow night. We shall see just how close the team really is with a potential bounce back against a team who is, well, laboring into this game. A 5-1 loss in Calgary. But could the Edmonton Oilers be changing a couple of things up? We will talk about that in just a second. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Athletic Greens. Our next partner has a product I use literally every day. I started using AG1 because I wanted to better my gut health, optimize my immune system, and I wanted to do so without taking so many pills. And that is exactly what I get with AG1. So, what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients helps your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all of the things. All of the things. Plus, it's lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, it is all good for you, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, all while still tasting great. And it costs less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Plus, Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews and is recommended by professional athletes. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That is it. No need for a million different pills or supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is head to athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Alrighty, let's get into tomorrow night's game between the Edmonton Oilers and the Ottawa Senators, as the Ottawa Senators are limping into tomorrow's matchup against the Oilers after a 5-1 beating to the Calgary Flames. A big win for the Flames. They needed that one, but you don't care about that. You care about tomorrow's game between the Oilers and the Senators. And the Oilers are also limping into this one, obviously, as we just talked about, that big 7-4 loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Almost called them the Blue Jays. But some potential lineup changes for the Edmonton Oilers heading into that one. The lines go like this for right now. Now, Ryan Rishaug from TSN did clarify that there is still a lot of time before tomorrow's game, so take these with a potential grain of salt, but these are how the Edmonton Oilers lined up at practice today. Patrick Kane, that was hopeful. Evander Kane on the top line alongside Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the second line with Leon Draisaitl and Kyler Yamamoto. And this is where the change comes in. Clem Costin is skating on the third line with Nick Bjugstad and Matthias Janmark. I kind of like that line. A big line, a big banging line too. That would be a fun line there. And the fourth line, Devon Shore, Ryan McLeod, and Derek Ryan, meaning Warren Fogle being the odd man out there. The lines for the Edmonton Oilers defensively, Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci, Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, Brett Kulak and Vinny Desharnais, and Philip Broberg, the seventh defenseman. Stuart Skinner in the starters net at practice, assuming he will be the starter for tomorrow night's game against the Senators. Now, a lot of speculation on whether the Edmonton Oilers will return to the 11-7 lineup tomorrow against the Senators. We shall know more tomorrow with potential morning skate. I assume we will know more again tomorrow. So watch out for that. Should the Oilers return to 11-7? Maybe. I like how they've been playing with 12-6, especially with the introductions of Nick Bjugstad and Matthias Janmark. So adding the 11-7 rotation for Janmark, or Matthias Ekholm, excuse me. I said Matthias Janmark, didn't I? With Matthias Ekholm there. A lot of Matthiases. But having Ekholm and Bjugstad kind of transition into that may be a little difficult, but we shall see. They're obviously veterans in the NHL, so that wouldn't be a difficult thing for them, but just interesting to see what the Edmonton Oilers may do in that respect. Let's flip to the opposite side with the Ottawa Senators, and this is how they lined up against the Flames. Wonder if they will stay the same, but Brady Tkachuk on the top line alongside Tim Stützle and Claude Giroux. Alex DeBrincat on the second line alongside Shane Pinto and Drake Batherson. Matthew Joseph on the third line alongside Dylan Gambrell and Julian Gauthier, and Parker Kelly on the fourth line alongside Mark Kastelik and Austin Watson. The defensive pairings for the Senators look like this, and yes, they just acquired that one guy. I don't know if you guys have heard about him, Jacob Chychrun? Jacob Chychrun is on this team, but he's not on the top pairing. It is Thomas Chabot and Artem Zub on the top pairing, and then you see Jacob Chychrun alongside Jacob Sanderson. A couple of Jacobs there for you flavor. Well, Jake Sanderson, you can call him Jacob. He also has a K in his name. Jake Sanderson, Jacob Chychrun, the second pairing for the Senators, and Eric Brandstrom and Travis Hamonic, the third pairing for the Ottawa Senators. Kevin Mandolese did get the start for the Senators yesterday, so I do expect Mad Sogard to get the start tomorrow, but we shall see. I was wrong between Allmark and Swayman, so you never know. But the last time these two teams played was pretty recently, a couple of weeks ago in Ottawa, when the Edmonton Oilers beat them 6-3, including that beautiful McLeod goal with the McDavid assist, shorthanded. That was actually before, I believe, the Boston game. I believe McLeod got the goal. Before that game, that was McLeod's last goal against the Ottawa Senators. So some pretty banging goals for Ryan McLeod over the last couple of weeks here. But, well, his last two goals, I should say. But in that game, Connor McDavid getting a goal and 2 assists, including a assist on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' goal, 6th goal of the game there. Not Nugent's 6th goal. Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine? No, the 6th goal of the game for the Edmonton Oilers. McDavid had a goal and 2 assists. Leon Draisaitl also getting on the score sheet with 2 assists in this one. Evander Kane also getting an assist. Connor McDavid, Derek Ryan, as mentioned, Ryan McLeod. Yessa Puljujärvi getting a goal in that one. Derek Ryan getting, Zach Hyman and Derek Ryan getting goals in that one. And, of course, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. If you were able to keep up with that, good for you. That is pretty impressive. Either way, let's stop talking about this game. The Oilers and the Sens face off tomorrow night at Rogers Place for a 7 o'clock puck drop. We will have updates as to what the lineup will look like tomorrow. But until then, let's head over to the Edmonton Oilers Prospect Report. One notable omission from the CHL, and that is Reed Schaefer, as he is now a product of the Nashville Predators. But we do have some updates on some Edmonton Oilers prospects, including one not in the CHL, but currently playing in the NCAA. We will talk about that in just a second. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Looking for a delicious treat but don't want all the fat and calories? Then you gotta try Built Bar. Listen, we're halfway through March. You better be still following through with those New Year's resolutions. I know I sure am. But if you're like me and wanted for the New Year's resolution, wanted to eat a little better, a little healthier, but didn't want to sacrifice taste, then you gotta try Built Bars. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, they are so delicious you won't think they're good for you. Perfect for that New Year's resolution that you're still sticking to, right? Right? But what makes Built so good? Well, for starters, it's probably because they use 100% real chocolate. Yes, I said real chocolate, and they come in so many undeniably delicious flavors, like churro, peanut butter brownie, coconut almond. Oh my goodness, I keep having to wipe my mouth. I am drooling from thinking of all of the delicious Built Bar flavors. Plus, it is good for you. Healthy is actually tasty. I'm not sure how they do it. These bars are like candy bars. They taste like candy bars, but they are still good for you. They're healthy. They only have 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein. If you have a participating Walmart or Sam's Clubs around you, make sure you go and grab a box. If not, head to Built.com. You can thank me later. Alrighty, let's wrap up today's episode with the Edmonton Oilers Prospect Report. We will be staying in the CHL for this one, so talking about the OHL and WHL prospects for the Oilers. However, I do have some news on Edmonton Oilers prospect Skylar Brind'Amour, who's currently playing in the NCAA with Quinnipiac, has 31 points for them already this year, 13 goals, 18 assists, 36 games played for him there. But the Edmonton Oilers are weighing their options on whether or not they are going to sign Skylar Brind'Amour. Now, I bring that up because Elliot Friedman on Tim and Friends, and as well during the intermission of the Sabres Maple Leafs game, also mentioned that the Edmonton Oilers prospect Skylar Brind'Amour, who is the son of Rod Brind'Amour, the Edmonton Oilers like that too. Staying in the bloodline. Obviously, if you know Rod Brind'Amour, you know the work ethic he has. You can't be a Brind'Amour without having that special something. But the reason why I bring that up is because it sounds like there are some teams also circling around Brind'Amour, so maybe a little bit of a situation to watch for the Edmonton Oilers prospect Skylar Brind'Amour during and after the big tournament for NCAA hockey in the Frozen Four. So something to watch there. But let's get into the CHL prospects for the Oilers. As we used to have a normal addition to this one in Reed Schaefer. However, Reed Schaefer has been traded to the Nashville Predators and no longer will be here. So there's Reed Schaefer's final mention, I guess, on the Edmonton Oilers Prospect Report on Locked On Oilers. But Matvei Petrov is still in the system for the Oilers, and thank goodness, as he is having a fantastic year. He is only 1 point off his total from last season, and he still has 5 games remaining in his season with the North Bay Battalion in the OHL. 62 games played for him, 26 goals, 63 assists, good for 89 points, 1 point away from his total last year, as mentioned, but in one less game, I should say, as last year he had 63 games played, 40 goals, 50 assists, 90 points. So really upping that assist there, his passing game for Matvei Petrov. Really good to see. So much so that over the last 5 games, 7 assists, no goals, 7 assists. His last goal came on, where was it? On Thursday, or no, excuse me. His last goal came March 2nd. Sorry, I had to find it on my notes. His last goal came March 2nd against the Sudbury Wolves, and even then, he still has 7 points since then. Now, as mentioned, he does have 5 games left with the North Bay Battalion, and he just turned 20 years old, so this will be likely his final year with the North Bay Battalion. I think it is his final year. I'm not sure if he can be brought back. If he's 20 next year, he might be, but we'll find out more. I'll make sure I find that out and report back to you on that. But his next game does happen on Thursday against the Oshawa Generals. We'll see if he can tie his career high in points in the OHL with 1 point. That's all he needs in his next game. Again, he has 5 points to do it. He is on pace for 96 points. So very great to see Petrov really continue to progress and develop down in the OHL there, over in the OHL there. Now, let's come westward and head to Saskatoon as the Edmonton Oilers have prospect Jake Chason. Almost said Jake Sanderson. Almost had another call back there. Jake Chason for the Saskatoon Blades. So far this year in total, because he was traded halfway through the year from the Brandon Wheat Kings, 66 games played so far this year, 20 goals, 34 assists, 54 points. Now, since joining the Saskatoon Blades, in 28 games, he has 10 goals, 16 assists, 26 points, almost a point per game player. And in his last 5 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. He is playing unbelievably well for the Saskatoon Blades, a great addition for them, and they clinched a playoff spot. They are third in the Eastern Conference. They should be second, however, as the Red Deer Rebels currently hold the second place spot because they won their division, so they're currently leading their division, so they should be second. Whatever, WHL rules. But they should be second behind the Winnipeg Ice, who is one of the nation's best teams. I mean, the WHL is absolutely stacked. You have to tune into the WHL playoffs this year. As heck, you know what? I'll get to who Jake Sanderson. There we go again. Jake Chason, who is likely to play in the first round. We will get to that in a second, but we're talking about teams like the Kamloops Blazers, who absolutely loaded up at the deadline. They are hosting the Memorial Cup as well, so they're going to be a fun team to watch. The Seattle Thunderbirds are an absolute wagon to watch as well. The Winnipeg Ice too, but the Jake Chason Saskatoon Blades are slated as of right now to face off against Connor Bedard's Regina Pats. So there are so many different storylines to watch out for the WHL playoffs coming up here. He also has 5 games left for the Saskatoon Blades, and his next game comes on Wednesday when they face off against the Swift Current Broncos. Alrighty, and the last bit of news, I guess, for the Edmonton Oilers Prospect Report comes from Maximus Wanner. As you may remember, he was suspended indefinitely from the WHL as him and 4 other players were under investigation, and has now been banned for the rest of the year with the rest of his teammates. Now, the WHL did come out with a statement, and this is what it read. Based on the findings of the investigation, the WHL has issued the following sanctions. All 4 Moose Jaw Warriors involved in the off-ice incident, Connor Ungar, who is the goaltender, Max Wanner, Lyndon Lakovich, and Merrick Howell, have been suspended for the balance of the WHL regular season. And they're not the only ones facing sanctions. The Moose Jaw Warriors general manager Jason Ripplinger and head coach Mark O'Leary have been suspended for 5 WHL regular season games, and the Moose Jaw Warriors have been fined $25,000. Now, a lot of this has been kept under wraps and very hush-hush quiet, so there's not really a lot to report on as to what the exact incident is. However, this is what the WHL, or this is how the WHL describes the situation. Upon being notified of the matter, the WHL security network reported the matter to police authorities in Moose Jaw and Edmonton, where the incident took place. So this happened when the Moose Jaw Warriors faced off against the Edmonton Oilers, Edmonton Oil Kings, just a couple of weeks ago. If you may remember, I was pushing you to go to that game to watch Max Wanner play. Now, the Edmonton Police Service have confirmed that the incident is not criminal in nature. Following a preliminary review of the incident by the WHL Secretary Network, the WHL then commissioned an independent third party to investigate the matter. The WHL Security Network is responsible for assisting WHL clubs with enforcing WHL standard of conduct policies and ensuring clubs continue to deliver safe and positive environment at all times. So, again, this has been found that, first of all, that the players and I guess the general manager and the head coach have breached the standard of conduct put out by the WHL. However, the Edmonton police have found the incident to be non-criminal. Don't want to be speculatory in any way. Just want to present to you the facts there. Now, this is big news because Max Wanner was slated, or at least rumored to be slated, to be heading to Bakersfield for the rest of the season after the WHL season concluded. However, that may be in doubt now. Now, Max Wanner, 7th-round pick for the Edmonton Oilers, signed his entry-level contract, was honestly a revelation during training camp, and just, it's unfortunate to get a story like that. A guy who seemingly was playing really well. He was having a career year with the Moose Jaw Warriors, career highs in goals, assists, and points. Unfortunately, just couldn't stay out of trouble, and you see the consequences of his actions there. We shall see what does come out of it, so maybe watch for Wanner's name in the news, as they do have about 5 games left in their season as well. So watch out for that there, but either way, let's wrap up on that note. The Edmonton Oilers face off against the Ottawa Senators tomorrow night at Rogers Place. We will have a full preview and updates as to who will be playing and whether or not the Edmonton Oilers will deploy the 11-7 tomorrow. But until then, I know it was a tough loss in Toronto, but party on, everybody. Play La Bamba, baby.